Here we are for match 2, playing against Singer from Singer. I think I recognize this name. We'll play first. This is an interesting hand. We would have turn 1, Secluded Step, turn 2, Thraben Inspector, bounce Secluded Step. I don't think it's terrible. We have 3 copies of Palace Sentinels. It would really depend what our opponent is playing. If it's another burn matchup, it's very terrible. But we do have a lot of big butts, so if it's like Stompy or something, we might be okay. Since we're on the play, my gut tells me to keep. Let me know what you think. I think it might be a little borderline because we're not actually casting a turn 1 Thraben. But we do have access to some powerful plays, and we have some extra card draw on the steps. And Thraben Inspector is a good card, so I like playing it, even a little delayed. This looks like it will be Elves or Stompy. Could still be either. We have tech for both. That sweet, sweet tech. Of course, Skyfisher, not a bad draw. It goes well with Thraben Inspector. Let's play the Inspector. And then let's garrison the Secluded Step back to our hand. Next turn. So this is where the tap lands are a little awkward. I can't like Skyfisher replay Inspector on the same turn, which I kind of don't like. But yeah, what can you do? So now's moment of truth. Elves or Stompy. If it's Elves, I'm going to feel really stupid with 3 Palace Sentinels in my hand. Probably got a little too greedy, but I really just want to show off what this card can do. It's so sweet. All right, it's Stompy. So that's A-okay. 2 lands and a Nest Invader later. Skyfisher's good. I actually think the matchup's pretty favored for Boros versus Stompy. Dude, 4 copies of Palace Sentinels. We're just going to be the Monarch forever, I guess. So going to be awkward, but I think what we'll do is we'll play out the step again, because I want to get to 4 mana. And then we will Skyfisher, and we'll return the Inspector to our hand. Four copies of Palace Sentinels. That makes me happy. So Stompy and Monarch might be interesting. They're a lot less go wide than Elves because Elves make so many tokens. But if they have the Trample thing and a Pump spell, they can probably take the Monarch from me pretty easily. There's Raincore. So now the question is, do I trade with the Nest Invader? I think the answer is yes. I think in the Stompy matchup, and at the very worst, I'll get a Pump spell out of their hand. I think in the Stompy matchup, you kind of have to be a little bit aggressive with your trades because your creatures matter a lot less than theirs because we have so much more removal in our deck. We can kill all their stuff, and yeah, that's fine. I'd rather get the Pump spell out of their hand, honestly, because we're setting up to play Palace Sentinels, and although we won't be the Monarch very long, we will be able to chain them all together turn after turn. And, Palace Sentinels blocks this. Yeah, so they'll be able to take Monarch away from us, which is unfortunate. Okay, Bolt is an excellent draw. So it looks like I'm not going to be able to become the Monarch this turn because I have to play my Inspector. I'll play my Cave. And then the question is now, do I want to go ahead and Bolt something like this? I don't think so, because then they'll just put it on Skargan Pit Skulk. That seems pretty bad. So I think we'll just pass, and we'll sort of hope for the best here. Opponent only has 2 cards in hand, so that's good. So I think before damage is where I will attempt to bolt this. Actually, probably better to have bolted this, because now they'll just put it on Skargan Pit Skulk, and I have to draw another removal spell. But we are saving a bunch of damage this turn, so that's pretty good. So now the question becomes, is it even good to play Palace Sentinel? River Boa, okay, and then the last card in the hand is Raincore. Putting it on the River Boa, that's interesting. We draw Core Skyfisher. So a couple of options here. Could go ahead and become the Monarch. Opponent will definitely take it, though, so that's not something I really want. Don't really have any way to draw more cards, which is also unfortunate. What's also kind of interesting is, Palace Sentinels are probably our best play here, actually. We don't have enough blockers, but we can just keep taking it back, and it's a 2/4. So yeah, actually, we're going to risk it for the biscuit here. Even if my opponent becomes the Monarch, I think we're still okay, because I think our deck is set up so well to fight our opponent's creatures, and then we can take it back at our leisure, basically. Of course, this could end up costing me the game. This does give me an extra crack at removal. And like I said, my best blocker, it's actually a whole bunch of things. Even though my opponent will be able to take it, they will have to sacrifice some creatures in order to do so. Because I'm going to block the Pit Skulk and a Kyrian Ranger if my opponent Alpha's here. If they just serve with the River Boa, that's going to be a little bit worse. I'll probably... I would have to block with my Palace Sentinels, and they would regenerate it, so that's really unfortunate. But protecting the Monarch is so important. Yeah, it's worth it, because I have more Palace Sentinels. And plus, if they have an extra pump spell, this will get rid of it. Which looks like what's happening. Is this a kicked vines? Hey, I'm okay with this. My opponent gets through some damage and becomes the Monarch, but I just take it back immediately. And so now I'm hoping to draw a Journey. So again, I think I can just leverage my draws a little bit better than my opponent can, because I'm looking for removal. I guess they're looking for pump spells. But being able to take back the Monarch so many times is good. There's a Forgotten Cave. I'll probably cycle it. I don't really need that right now. I would rather have an untapped land. Really need removal. But I don't think we're out of this game yet, even though that River Boa is pretty terrifying. I wonder if it's correct to cut all my copies of Palace Sentinels, but they're just so good at blocking. So yeah, I'm going to cycle the Forgotten Cave, hope to get an untapped land. I think the best one would probably be the one that gains me 2 life, Radiant Fountain. If they just attack with River Boa again, I'm just going to block. Okay, yeah, this is the alpha. So now actually it changes a little. I want to block these 2. I don't care if my opponent becomes the Monarch again. I have, 2 more Palace Sentinels. This, could kill me, but I think I'd rather get rid of my opponent's guys and then just to eat the 4. My opponent would have to have Vines of Vastwood and a Giant Growth to kill me here. But they don't. They're just looking to take the Monarch. So that's actually cleans up the board fairly nicely. It makes it so I don't lose my blocker. And then I can play another Palace Sentinels. And then I think we're actually pretty in the game at that point. Multiple blockers my opponent has to deal with. Opponent's drawn a lot of lands this game. What are they casting for 2 mana here? Burning Tree. All right, I'm not scared of Burning Tree on this board because my opponent has so much mana. They're not really using it that well. So whatever. Oh, yeah, I want to cycle this. Perfect. Because now what I'll do is I'll become the Monarch. And then I will Core Sky Fisher this Radiant Fountain back to my hand. That's gas. Let's go ahead and exit the chat so the screen's a little bigger. Yep. Bounce that Radiant Fountain on back. There's a way to make my cards bigger, right? There we go. I probably don't need my graveyards out. Sorry, I just realized the playing field looks pretty small. I have a lot of stops. So we're still digging for the removal spell, but I'm feeling in very good shape here. We can take the Monarch back again, and so we're just, being able to play all of our 2/4s and then extra 2/3s and returning the Radiant Fountain to our hand is gas. I'm feeling pretty good here. That doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Just that, like, if my opponent draws 2 more Rancors, we're probably in a pretty bad spot. Well, one Rancor I'm not that scared of, especially because I can kill the Burning Tree Emissary. Probably block. Okay, that's sort of the attack I figured. Definitely think it's worth trade here. In that case, do I want to trade my Skyfisher? Because I'm letting my opponent take the Monarch anyway. Yeah, that seems fine. And then we'll still put one. Actually, if we're doing that, we might as well keep the Monarchy. Let's just do this. It forces my opponent. Okay, they're just going to regenerate. That's fine. I think these cards are doing their job. And that way we also save the life and we save the Monarch. And I think that was actually probably the best way to play that. Now we can take off a turn from playing Palace Sentinels. We can score Skyfisher back something else maybe. We can play some of our Prophetic Prisms. We can hopefully draw into one of our 3 journeys to get rid of this River Boa. So actually, I think that trade was fine. Well, the chump in the trade, rather. There's that Rancor. What's it targeting? The Skargan Pit Skulk. That's A-okay. Because I can, kill it with my... There's the Journey. So I'm going to have to put it on the River Boa. They will get that Rancor, so that's unfortunate. So we have to draw a removal spell. So let's try and do that. We have 2 cracks at it. Prism. Another Radiant Fountain. Don't hate that. So now do I want to play another blocker, or do I want to try and get a removal spell? I think we should play the blocker. And we'll bounce Radiant Fountain back to our hand. And now we can block one of these with the Core Skyfisher. And if our opponent takes back the Monarchy, we can get it back. Yep, it's good to be king. So we have a blocker for all of our opponents, not all of our opponents' creatures, not for the Scion, but that would require, maybe they'll put Rancor on the Scion. That'd actually be pretty sweet. Nope, just putting it on that. So our opponent is going to take back the Monarchy this turn. Oh, and I actually just realized I actually can't block Skargan Pit Skulk. Yikes. Mistake on my part. We'll go ahead and block the Nettle Sentinel, though. All right, well, this is getting ridiculous. Triple Rancor is exactly what my opponent needs to win the game, unfortunately. So we have to hope that we draw some good removal here. I do like that we have 2 Radiant Fountains. Our opponent is out of spell, so we can block pretty safely here. Why did they... Oh, they returned a Forest to their hand? Okay. We're going to block the Kyrian Ranger and the Nettle Sentinel here. Take 3 from the Pit Skulks. We'll take 5 total. We'll take more than that, actually. So yeah, block... Can't block here. I guess we can actually afford to double block and not take any damage from this guy. Because, yeah, that's fine. Because our opponent doesn't have a pump spell in hand, so that's fine. Our opponent will become the Monarch. We have Palace Sentinels again. And then we're in a pretty good spot to win. We still have to draw a removal spell, actually. So maybe we should spend our turn doing that instead, because we have to get rid of this Pit Skulk and these Rancors. So I wonder if our opponent will play the... Yeah, I think if you play them now... Interesting putting them there. I actually don't think I have any 3 power creatures, so that's probably smart. And now they're guaranteeing getting some damage through. Battle Screech. Don't hate that, except I need a removal spell. So let's play the Radiant Fountain. Let's play the Prism. And we can still play the Palace Sentinels if we want, although we will lose the Monarchy. Rough. So... Bit of a spot here. I think I like playing the Prism the best. And then we can cycle a Clue. Worst case. Okay, well, we drew Bolt instead. So now what we'll do is should we Bolt now? Yeah, let's Bolt now. Because I don't want my opponent to kick a Vines at my face. And right now they would have to use a Vines if they had it. Yep. So now we're blocking the Eldrazi's problem. We might actually lose this game. Because my opponent drew triple Rancor, which is exactly what I didn't want in the draw. But getting that removal spell out of our opponent's hand was very good. I don't think they can win here. Oh, I see. That puts them pretty close. So now what we need is we need to rip 2 removal spells. That's not one. That's not one. All right, we lose. GG's. But yeah, that was exactly how I imagined we'd lose that game. My opponent drew a ton of Rancors. So bringing in Cop Green, bringing in Standard Bearer, bringing in Lone Missionary, maybe Electrickery, but I don't know. Gonna cut Battle Screech. I think that's pretty bad here because it doesn't let us block very well, and we're definitely the control deck. Maybe cut a Vial, a Prism. I do like the Prismatic Strands. Maybe cut a Sentinels, and then we'll cut a Glint Hawk. Sure. So now we have never lose the game basically unless they bring in a. Actually, no, we can totally lose still. I do like this though. Electrickery would have been good last game, but I think our bearers and our spot removal. I think the cards we have are a little bit better here. There is something to be said for completely cutting the Palace Sentinels, maybe. And then what we leave in all of our dorky artifacts and. That actually might not be bad. No, these are just such good blockers. I like it. But that Battle Screech was totally useless last game. If it had been any of these other cards that we just brought in, we probably would have won. So game 1, I'm actually not sure how I feel about Stompy. I actually think we're pretty favored. We just have so much removal, and our creatures block pretty well. But triple Rancor is pretty hard to beat, and I think game 2 we are pretty heavily favored. Yes, I'd like to play first. Triple Standard Bearer, my opener. Yes, please keep. We'll go turn 1 Windscar Crag, turn 2 Standard Bearer. Scattershot. See, that's why I'm glad I took out all the. This is only really good against my token producer. I guess not. I guess you could zing me on the it makes my bird blocks much worse, and my Skyfisher blocks much worse. So I think next turn we'll go ahead and cycle the cave, try and hit something. But this card's just so powerful in this matchup. Our opponent has Gut Shot. That's fine too. We have 2 extras. I will not be taking this damage. Probably worth it to play 2 Standard Bears. Well, there's Skargan Pit Skulk. That's a good way for me to. Well, Kyrian Ranger they can't use the ability because of Standard Bear. Prophetic Prism, I like that. Let's go ahead and see what we draw. And then we can bounce it back to our hand with the Glint Hawk. Or we'll just play a Thraben Inspector. That's a-okay. This does let us trade with the Pit Skulk, though. I'm actually going to play the Glint Hawk. Because it lets us block this also. If my opponent were to decide to attack. But really, it turns off them attacking with the Pit Skulk, which I like. Next turn, we'll play Prism and Thraben Inspector and maybe our land. Depending on what we draw. If we draw a land, I don't think I really want to keep the Forgotten Cave. But if we don't draw a land, I will be making it as my land drop because I want to be able to play POW Sentinels when I draw it. Burning Tree? Oh no, it's going to be Gleeful. Gleeful, my 2 artifacts. That's fine. Yep. I know this looks bad for me, but it's actually not bad at all. I've already established the board state I need in order to win the game, and I have an extra land in my hand. So now the plan is to play Forgotten Cave and Thraben Inspector, and I will 100% trade here. And now the next turn I'll have the Inspector to block. And then I got Core Skyfisher coming. So next turn, I'm gonna probably have to play the Prism, unless if I draw an untapped land, I can play of course Skyfisher, replay Threadman Inspector, or I could draw a Bolt. That'd be pretty sweet. I think I am still gonna play the Skyfisher. Return Inspector to my hand, and this turn I set up a turn where I can Inspector and Bolt. I really want to bolt this dog, but I don't know if that's going to happen. That's fine. Yeah, my opponent has to untap the standard bearer. That is a good warning. That is a good reminder though that I can't block the dog here actually. So I'm not going to, because I'll lose my core Skyfisher if I do because of the scatter shot. So maybe actually good to bolt the scatter shot. Boros Garrison, pretty good draw. So now, do I still want to? Yeah, I think I still want to play the Inspector. What's unfortunate though is I do also want to bounce this, but I can't do that because I want to leave a bolt also. So I guess I'm bouncing the Windscarred Crag. That's fine. I think I wanted all these lands anyway. So now I can maybe bolt Scattershot Archer. If I want to, I would have to do it right now, though. I'm not going to. That's fine. My opponent can dump whatever they want in a Wild Mongrel. But I'm actually not. I mean, I'm not going to block it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to let them decide if they want to dump some stuff there. If they do, A-okay. If they don't, sweet. So now do I want to bolt anything? No. Double bolt, that's even better than solitary bolt. So now what do I want to do? I think we'll do this, and then we can bolt if we need to. No, actually, I'm going to go ahead and play Prism. My opponent didn't do anything crazy last turn, so... Yeah, and we draw Radiant Fountain. That's pretty good. Still no blocks. There's just no reason to do anything here. I think at some point, I think I am actually going to bolt the Scatter Shot just because I want my Skyfish to be able to block. Oop. Sit on their end step. I would rather be able to journey the dog so that way they can't react by pumping it. There's another Skyfisher. That's pretty good. So what we'll do is we will bounce the Prism. Replay the Prism. Man, drawing all the bolts. This is great. Pass the turn. Maybe I could start getting in. Actually, I probably should have attacked there. This is actually probably the turn to start attacking, since I have the blockers and the bolts. Should I block here? No, I don't think so. It's not worth it. They also can't kill me, so... Secluded Step. Do I want to play that? Kind of. I guess we can afford to crack a clue first. Sentinels. So actually, we do want to play it so that we can Sentinels next turn and keep up mana. So yeah, now I think is the time to start attacking. Next turn we'll play the Sentinels with 2 double bolt backup. I'm not sure what that means. I think you should attack. Maybe I shouldn't have attacked. Whatever. Still nothing from me on this front. Do I want to bolt? Bolt the Nettle Sentinel and the Burning Tree? I think I'd rather cycle. Spectre Thraben, pretty good. Lone Missionary, pretty good. Let's play Pal Sentinels to keep up double bolt, keep back all our blockers. All right, we're in business. Let's play the Fountain. Play the Missionary. Play the Vial. And now we'll keep up our burn and we will attack. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points of burn. So can't win this turn. We can also Vial to make something unable to attack. We'll probably do that on the Wild Mongrel. Send a message. All right, and our opponent concedes. So that turned out pretty well. We still had to kind of slog it out though. Alchemist Vial might actually be better than Prism, so I'm actually going to board one in and board out another Prism. That actually makes me a little afraid I won't be able to fix my mana. Let's run it back. I think that was probably pretty ideal. You know, we've cut our flyers to play around the sideboard cards. We weren't really that affected by the Gleeful that game. You know, our creatures had bigger butts. We managed to resolve. I mean, really, we won because of Standard Bearer. Our opponent had 7 cards in hand. It was very unfair. So nothing like that this game. But we do have Journey, Bolt, and Blast, which is probably good enough. So let's go ahead and keep. Journey for the Young Wolf. And a Skyfisher. I like that. Let's go ahead and play the Cave. Next turn, we'll Ancient Den and Journey the Wolf. Unless our opponent plays a juicier target, like a Skargan Pitskulk. Nettle Sentinel, it's whatever. And a Kyrian Ranger. So now I think I kind of want to bolt the Nettle Sentinel. So I'll go ahead and play out my Radiant Fountain. Or I could Ancient Den Glinthawk. I kind of like that. I also kind of like saving the bolt for when my opponent goes for a Rancor, actually. So yeah, let's go. But that's not good for helping me set up my core Skyfisher. I think what I'll do is play Radiant Fountain, leave up Bolt. Next turn I can Skyfisher, return Radiant Fountain to my hand, leave up Bolt or Blast. That might be good enough. My opponent only has 4 cards. Well, only. I have a lot more cards, and one of them's a land, so that's good. So no blocks, obviously. Won't try and damage anything. On my opponent's instep, if they have not played a Rancor, I will go ahead and bolt the Nettle Sentinel just so I'm not wasting my mana. Nest Invader, also a consideration. I think Nettle Sentinel's a little more annoying. Unless with their last cards like Hunger the Howlpack. Well, I have the Journey if that happens. Another Skyfisher, not shabby. Skyfisher back, the Radiant Fountain. We'll probably make that play again next turn if we have to. So, got a lot of blockers. Got removal. Opponent's low on cards. Really saving for that Rancor. I'll block whatever my opponent throws at me, because I got a blast to respond with. Even if I only have one artifact. Ooh, opponent does play Gut Shot. Interesting. In my play against Will, he did not have it. So my opponent probably... So let's think through this. Do I want to blast into turn? No, I just don't need to because I'll have access to it again next turn. So let's replay Fountain. Replay Skyfisher. Leave up Galvanic Blast. Next turn, maybe play Secluded Step, maybe cycle it. All right. Can't kill the dog. So I can step the dog, kind of like that. That's a pretty good draw, but I do want to leave mana open. That's like the one I can't really block that well, so it will die. Next turn I can play the Crag, cycle the step. Yeah, 4 mana. I think I want to start cycling the step maybe. Maybe I should start playing some Glint Hawks. Only one artifact makes that a little bit of a tough call though. Young Wolf, that does not bother me. Really, what would bother me is probably a Gleeful, because then they get that dog back. All right, that's a pretty good draw. I think that's going to be the game probably. So let's play Crag. Standard Bearer. If they have one more Gut Shot, whatever. But they already used it, so hoping they don't. Do not want to attack here. So next turn, I think I do want to cycle the step. Draw Boros Garrison. Pretty sweet. Don't want to do that, actually. Let's turn that old fountain to our hand. So now we're getting in a position where I think we're in pretty good shape. We got the Standard Bearer. We've got the dog taken care of. We have, 2 good blockers. We have multiple activations of Radiant Fountain. Yeah, I think my opponent was just about to slap a Rancor down, but cannot because of Standard Bearer. So if I played this, we would get the 3 artifacts we need. But I'm planning on cycling the Clue. So I think we'll play the Fountain. And because we have no other play, we'll Glint Hawk, return the Din to our hand. We can make that same play next turn as well. So Galvanic Blast is only a shock right now, but that's fine. My deck does take a while to kill, though. There's a Bolt. Do I want to start getting in there? Nah, not yet. We're good. So let's... it's tough. Let's play the Den. Let's Guy Fisher the Cave back to our hands. We can cycle it. Probably could have done that with Thraben Inspector instead. Let's play the Hawk. Let's return the Din to our hand. Yeah, it's actually probably better to replay the Thraben Inspector. Whatever. Still not going to attack. We're gonna wait one more turn, and then I'm going to start serving with all of my flyers. All right, and we win the match. So that was my plan. This deck really grinds people out. I'll see everyone for match 3.